Hello, everyone. Welcome to Meditales with the Portatile Doctor, where I will review the accuracy and realistic feasibility of medical contents found in scripted and unscripted works, such as movies, TV shows, adverts, novels, and books to facilitate public health education. Don't forget to visit our website and blog today. So, moving on to something exciting, we will be reviewing. Can I get some drum rolls, please? A 2019 Nollywood movie that was directed by James Akinbi and produced by Moses Olufemi. Now, in this movie, uh, it's centered around a character, which is the central character, who was discovered to have a brain tumor and subsequently had a novel treatment which led to cure. Now, we will be critiquing the storyline that culminates to the various medical scenes that is being depicted in the movie. In the beginning of this movie, Mr. David Coker, which is the central character, experiences a sudden preceding aura. He seemed to have raised his hand to his eyes as though confused. We do not know if he was having a headache or he was having an abnormal sensation or experience that usually would precede a generalized tonic-clonic seizure. But we get to appreciate the fact that he subsequently develops a sudden involuntary jerking movement involving the limbs, which was subsequently followed by a loss of consciousness. Now, in an elderly person with new onset seizures, especially a generalized tonic-clonic seizures, one would consider a brain tumor as an important differential. However, in this particular character, we do not see preceding history of subtle neglected symptoms that might have given uh, credibility to this diagnosis at the later time. Now, this would have been good to build the storyline or to build the symptomatology of the disease up to the point where it was discovered, because it apparently was discovered at the late time, uh, which gives an idea that it must have been there for quite some time and definitely would have given off subtle symptoms which might have been neglected at various points in time. Now, we would like to state that the way the seizure was depicted was not appropriate. It could have been done better with better guidance. Now, we see that he was subsequently rushed to a hospital for initial review by a doctor, which we assume was a general practitioner, and we do not see what initial steps was done to resuscitate or to address the acute symptoms, because he was unconscious and most probably presented to that hospital unconscious. But we do not see any form of intervention that was done prior to the recovery of his consciousness. Now, we just see that the next encounter is the interaction between Mr. David Coker and Dr. Okon, who attempted to explain the nature of the disease that the character was experiencing, based on the findings from the computed axial tomography scan that was done, which was said to have found a brain tumor. We, however, do not see such an image that depicts this diagnosis to appreciate the extent of the disease. Now, in the course of the discussion, uh, when the doctor was about to break the bad news, we can see that there was a transient smile on Dr. Okon's face before he said, I have grave news. Now, this is not likely in real practice, because every doctor knows that when you are about to break a bad news to a patient, especially a diagnosis this grave, it's unlikely that you will smile. And besides, even your facial expression will tell the character or the patient that all is not well. Now, Dr. Okon further talks on the grading of this particular tumor, and the only evaluation done here is a CT scan. There is no prior information talking about a prior biopsy, and there is no information regarding metastatic workup or metastatic evaluation to identify presence of the tumor in other parts of the body. There's no information on that. It is highly unlikely and rather very quite difficult to grade a tumor solely based on imaging alone. Now, he moves on to talk about the prognosis of the illness and talks about what is likely to be the cause of the illness. Now, though he didn't seem to discuss a plan for Mr. David Cooker, but the subsequent scenes would, can be understood that he was referred to a specialist. But we do not know the type of specialist that Mr. David Cooker was referred to because there is no mention of the doctor's name nor his area of specialty. Now, this is hard and not likely. Uh, he is reviewing as a specialist and does not introduce himself, his name, or his area of specialty. It would have been nice so that the viewers are not left to assume the area of specialty that would handle this kind of illness. Now, the specialist on first consultation was seen jotting down symptoms while clacking a patient already on the examining couch. Hmm, it's not likely. You would first clack the patient before examining, and that's the proper order. Now, although they may go pari passu, but uh, given the first encounter, it is very important to take as much history as much as possible before examining the patient in totality, especially given the fact that it's a brain tumor. We do not appreciate any neurological examination of this character in the movie. Now, this is unlikely in real life, given the fact that it was a brain tumor that is being evaluated. We do not see any neurological examination aside the specialist attending to listen to heart sounds. Now, in this particular scene, the specialist is seen to also have is also seen to have listened to the patient's or the character rather the character's chest as the sole examination in this particular scene. This is there's more that could have been done, to be able to give credence that this is a specialist examiner. All right, so let's move on. Let's not dwell on this so much. Now, in the second visit to the specialist doctor, when Mr. David Hooker starts to recount episodes of memory loss, but prior to this discussion, there was no scene to depict these episodes of memory loss. Now, the response of the specialist doctor to this concern was largely ambiguous, superficial, and unenthusiastic, which is unlikely in real life. Memory loss is a significant uh, symptom in a patient being evaluated for brain tumor, and it can be distressing. And the way in which it was addressed in the movie is not likely to be in reality. Now, later in the movie, we get to see that he travels to the United States for a novel treatment, which was not stated, and he is unaccompanied by a family member or caregiver, which is not likely because it is not likely that um, commercial airlines would permit someone ill, this ill, to travel unaccompanied, and besides also to go to a foreign or go for medical tourism abroad, you would usually require someone to accompany the patient. Given the nature of the illness is a brain tumor, so there might be some level of mental incapacitation, and then the need for a third party to stand in the level of decision making, which was not depicted in this movie. Now, we see that Mr. David returns home to his family, back to his pre-morbid state, as though nothing has happened. We do not appreciate rehabilitation, follow-up care, to see how his progress was in terms of recovery. We don't appreciate any of this. It was rather abrupt. Now you see, this is not likely in real life, especially for a patient who has brain tumor. So, the movie depiction of the disease symptomatology, the disease cause of a brain tumor, the nature of care and recovery is so porous and does not reflect reality and the interest of public health education. And it is rather unfortunate as this contributes to the core story of the movie. The overall rating of level of accuracy of medical content in this movie is poor. And we do hope that the producers and the directors would try to seek guidance from medical professionals in subsequent movies that will have medical content. So, what are you waiting for? Visit us today at www.portal.org.ng. Portal, quality of life, getting better.